Good afternoon, friends and Flerfs. Welcome to another episode of Chad Thinks Logically About It. Today we're going to take on our good friend Phuket Word, who put out a little video talking about how it is impossible for the sun to light the underside of clouds during a sunrise or sunset. He says that it's all just perspective and an illusion, that the sun would never do that. Well, we know better, don't we? Let's take a look at his video and see what his thinking is on this.
Hello, flat earth researchers, debaters and debunkers. Lovely sunrise this morning here in Portishead. Of course, we see a sun that appears to be below the clouds. Do we see the bottoms of those clouds being lit up by the sun that appears to be lower than them? Of course not.
Except I'm guessing that if he would have started the recording a few minutes before, we probably would have seen those clouds lit up from the underside.
If I'd have filmed this just a few minutes ago, you would have seen the sun just poking up over the horizon, and what we do see is those clouds up there lit up. So of course, what is this? This is the result of perspective. It is not the result of being on a globular spinning Earth that's rotating to create this sunrise.
No, of course not. That would be way too logical.
The sun is, as we say, rising, but that's because it's simply coming closer to us on this level, stationary Earth.
Or maybe it is rising because the Earth is rotating towards it.
So let me just zoom in. You can see the clouds up there are lit up by the sun that is physically higher than those clouds. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. And I challenge anyone to watch a sunrise or a sunset and see the sun apparently below the clouds, and show that clouds, like these cumulus clouds, which are quite thick, are being lit up from the underside.
Okay, how about this one? Oh, this is getting embarrassing for you, isn't it? Let's try this one. Or how about this next one of Mount Rainier in Washington State? The sun is obviously low enough that it's casting a shadow of Mount Rainier up and into the clouds, which are also lit from underneath. Or how about the pièce de résistance? One taken from an airplane. Did you notice in that clip that we could actually see the darkness on the other side and where the sun was actually below the clouds? Ooh, that'll be a tough one for him to rebut, won't it?
Of course, sometimes we see these colors in the clouds when we have a sunrise or a sunset, and that's because the sun is shining through them. We can see those clouds up there are a lot thinner and at a higher altitude. So yeah, where the clouds get thin, the sunlight, as we can see here, is shining through the clouds. When the clouds get too dense for the sunlight to shine through, it does not light up those clouds, and the sun never lights up the clouds from the underside. The sun only ever passes through the thinner clouds, as we can see up there. I think we call those cirrostratus clouds, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Amaze us with your knowledge of clouds long enough to get the sun above them.
Thanks to Bob the science guy for pointing that out to us recently. Those, of course, are much thinner, very wispy clouds, and the sunlight shines through those clouds very easily. But as you can see here, the sunlight does not shine through these cumulus clouds that are at a lower altitude and much thicker. And it also explains why you cannot zoom in on the sun after it has set, because that's really what's happening. The sun apparently has gone beyond or behind the clouds, and so of course you cannot zoom in. If you just, in your mind's eye.
Ah, yes, the mind's eye. The only place flat Earth makes sense to anybody.
Imagine that these clouds are much further away, so they would touch the horizon. So of course, when we get a sunset, then those clouds will just, the sun will go beyond those clouds, and you won't be able to zoom in on the sun again.
What about a cloudless evening when the sun sets and there are no clouds?
Always a ridiculous question that we often get from globe earthers who can't get their heads around this idea that we're living on a stationary Earth with a moving sun.
Oh, and we end with the laugh, just like he's figured something out that nobody else has ever figured out in the entire world. But he hasn't figured out anything, has he? He's just made himself look like a fool. If there are any flat earthers out there who believe what Mr. Word is saying, there's still time for you. There's still time for you to come back to logic and reason, to be able to look at all of the evidence, all of it, and come to the conclusion that the rest of the world has, that the Earth is a ball. You don't have to buy into this conspiracy theory garbage. Well, that's all for today. If you liked this video, please be sure to subscribe, ring the bell if you'd like to get notified of my next video that comes out, and make sure to keep thinking logically about it, and we'll see you next time.